Have you ever witnessed a moment so emotional that the entire arena seemed to forget it was watching a sporting event? A moment where victory wasn't just measured by medals or scores, but by the tears of a parent who had sacrificed everything to see a dream come true. That is exactly the feeling millions of skating fans experienced during the unforgettable 2026 Olympic Figure Skating Exhibition Gala. It wasn't another competition. There were no judges holding up scores, no rankings, no pressure to qualify. It was simply a celebration. A night where the world's greatest skaters returned to the ice one final time to thank the fans before saying goodbye to one of the greatest Winter Olympics in recent memory. And as the lights dimmed inside the Milano ice skating arena, one name echoed louder than any other: Alysa Liu. Only a few days earlier, the young American had achieved something that many experts once believed was nearly impossible. She became Olympic champion, ending a decades-long wait for an American woman to reclaim Olympic gold in singles figure skating. It was a victory that instantly became one of the defining moments of the Games. But this wasn't just Alysa's story. It was also the story of the people who stood behind her long before television cameras arrived. The coaches who believed in her, the friends who watched her grow, and perhaps most importantly, her father. For years, fans had admired Alysa's cheerful personality. She smiled through pressure, laughed during interviews, and somehow managed to make elite competition look almost fun. Yet behind that effortless confidence was a family journey filled with challenges, sacrifice, and unwavering belief. Long before Alysa became a world champion or Olympic gold medalist, her father, Arthur Liu, had already experienced struggles that would shape their family's future. A Chinese dissident who later built a new life in the United States, he worked tirelessly to provide opportunities for his children, encouraging Alysa as she discovered her love for skating at a very young age. Those early mornings, driving before sunrise, cold skating rinks, endless practice sessions. Most people only see the glamorous performances under bright arena lights. Very few ever witness everything that happens before those moments exist. For every clean jump performed in front of millions, there are thousands of falls that nobody records. For every standing ovation, there are years filled with uncertainty. As Alysa's talent became impossible to ignore, expectations began growing faster than almost anyone could have imagined. She wasn't simply another promising junior skater. She was breaking records, landing jumps that few American women had attempted successfully, winning national championships while still incredibly young. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. Some believed she would become America's next Olympic champion. Others warned that early success could create unbearable pressure. Every competition became another headline. Every performance was analyzed. Every mistake was replayed. Yet somehow, Alysa continued smiling. That smile became one of her trademarks. Fans loved it because it reminded everyone that figure skating could still be joyful, even when the pressure reached unbelievable levels. Then something happened that surprised nearly the entire skating world. Instead of continuing non-stop toward future Olympic glory, Alysa stepped away from competitive skating for a period, explaining that she simply wanted to enjoy life outside elite competition. Many people wondered whether they had already seen the final chapter of her remarkable career. Questions filled social media. Would she ever come back? Could she still compete with the new generation? Had her best skating already happened? For many athletes, walking away is easier than returning, because returning means proving yourself all over again. It means accepting criticism. It means risking failure. It means knowing that people will compare every performance to your past success. Yet Alysa accepted that challenge, not because she needed another medal, but because she rediscovered her love for skating. That decision changed everything. Her comeback wasn't built around proving critics wrong. It was built around enjoying the sport again. Fans noticed the difference immediately. She looked relaxed. She laughed during practices. She interacted naturally with other competitors. Instead of carrying the weight of expectations, she seemed determined to simply skate the way she loved. Ironically, that freedom made her even stronger. Competition after competition, confidence returned. The jumps looked sharper. The artistry became more mature. Every performance showed an athlete who wasn't skating from fear anymore. She was skating from happiness. By the time the Olympic season arrived, many experts believed Alysa had transformed into an entirely different competitor. Technically brilliant, artistically expressive, mentally stronger than ever, the Olympics would eventually prove them right. Her performances captivated audiences around the world, leading to one of the biggest victories in modern American figure skating. Yet strangely enough, some fans later admitted that their favorite Alysa moment didn't happen during the medal ceremony. It happened afterward, at the exhibition gala. The gala has always been different from competition. There are no judges, no scores, no medals, only creativity. Skaters choose performances that reflect their personalities rather than maximizing technical points. It becomes less about winning and more about celebrating the journey. As the evening progressed, the audience enjoyed playful routines, emotional tributes, and unforgettable performances from the world's biggest skating stars. Then the announcer introduced Alysa Liu. The arena erupted. She wasn't simply another performer anymore. She was the Olympic champion. According to reports from the event, Alysa closed the exhibition gala with a lively performance set to Stateside by Pink Pantheress and Zara Larsson, delighting the crowd with a relaxed, energetic routine that showcased her personality just days after winning Olympic gold. She also joined her Team USA teammates during the evening's group performance before returning for her individual skate. The atmosphere immediately changed. People weren't watching to evaluate jump rotations. They weren't counting points. They were simply watching someone who looked genuinely happy. Every smile felt authentic. Every movement felt free. Every second reminded everyone why so many people had fallen in love with figure skating in the first place. Somewhere inside the arena sat her family, watching, reflecting, remembering every sacrifice that had led to this extraordinary night. Although television coverage focused mainly on Alysa herself, it was impossible not to imagine what those closest to her must have been feeling. Years of dedication, years of uncertainty, years of believing, now ending with an Olympic celebration witnessed by millions across the world. For a parent, moments like these are difficult to describe, because they are not just celebrating a medal. They are remembering every obstacle that almost prevented this day from ever happening. And as Alysa glided effortlessly across the ice with the confidence of someone who had finally come full circle, one truth became impossible to ignore. This wasn't simply the ending of an Olympic competition. It was the celebration of an entire family's journey. A journey that had transformed a young girl with a dream into one of the brightest stars in world figure skating. And for everyone watching, it felt as though the most emotional chapter of the story was only just beginning. As Alysa completed another graceful pass across the ice, the applause inside the arena grew even louder. It wasn't just appreciation for beautiful skating. It was the audience recognizing everything that her journey represented. Olympic champions are often remembered for a single performance, a single score, a single historic moment. But behind every champion is a story that stretches back years before anyone outside their family knew their name. For Alysa Liu, that story began in California, where she first stepped onto the ice as a little girl with an endless supply of curiosity and energy. Skating quickly became more than just an after-school activity. It became the place where she could express herself, challenge herself, and gradually discover what she was capable of. As her skills improved, so did the demands of elite competition. Morning practices became routine. School schedules had to fit around training. Weekends disappeared into competitions. Vacations became rare. Every season brought new expectations. For young athletes, that lifestyle can feel overwhelming. Yet one of the reasons Alysa attracted so many supporters was that she never seemed to lose the excitement that first drew her to skating. Even during high-pressure events, cameras frequently captured her smiling between performances, laughing with fellow skaters, or simply enjoying the experience. That attitude became part of her identity. Fans admired her not only because she could land difficult jumps, but because she reminded everyone that greatness and joy could exist together. Still, success is rarely a straight path. As the years passed, the technical level of women's figure skating continued to rise. Younger skaters emerged from around the world with increasingly difficult programs. Every season introduced fresh challengers determined to reach the top. The competition never stopped evolving. Neither did Alysa. Rather than chasing headlines, she focused on becoming a more complete skater. Her artistry matured. Her skating skills became more refined. Instead of relying only on athletic ability, she developed the emotional connection that often separates good performances from unforgettable ones. That growth became especially noticeable after her return to competition. Many athletes who step away struggle to regain confidence. Alysa appeared different. She spoke openly about rediscovering her love for the sport. Instead of skating because she felt she had to, she was skating because she genuinely wanted to. That shift changed everything. Her performances suddenly carried a new sense of freedom. The pressure that once seemed overwhelming now appeared lighter. Fans noticed. Commentators noticed. Even her competitors acknowledged that she looked happier than ever. As the Olympic season unfolded, expectations slowly began building once again. Could she really win? Could this comeback end with the biggest prize in sports? Nobody knew for certain. Figure skating is unpredictable. One missed jump can change everything. One small mistake can separate gold from fourth place. Yet when the Olympic competition finally arrived, Alysa delivered the performances she had trained for throughout her career. She combined technical consistency with confident presentation, earning the scores needed to capture the women's singles gold medal. It marked the first Olympic women's singles title for the United States in many years and immediately became one of the defining stories of the Games. For American skating fans, it felt like history returning. For Alysa, it represented something even deeper. Validation. Not because she had anything left to prove, but because she had trusted herself enough to return after walking away. That decision required courage. Many athletes fear that coming back might damage the legacy they already built. Alysa accepted that possibility. Instead of protecting her reputation, she chose to chase the joy of competing again. Ironically, that fearless approach led to the greatest achievement of her career. By the time the exhibition gala arrived, the pressure had disappeared. The medal had already been won. The interviews were complete. The history books had already been written. Now came the celebration. Unlike competitive programs, exhibition performances allow skaters to reveal more of their personalities. Some choose playful routines. Others perform emotional tributes. Many use music that simply makes them happy. Alysa's performance reflected exactly that spirit. She skated with freedom. She laughed naturally. She interacted with the audience. Instead of performing for judges, she appeared to be sharing a moment with everyone inside the arena. The crowd responded immediately. Every spin earned cheers. Every step sequence drew applause. Every smile seemed to spread throughout the building. Perhaps that was what made the evening so memorable. People weren't watching an athlete under pressure. They were watching someone who had reached the other side of an extraordinary journey. For longtime fans, memories of her younger years came rushing back. They remembered the teenager making history at the U.S. Championships. They remembered the excitement surrounding her early career. They remembered the uncertainty when she stepped away from competition. They remembered wondering if she would ever return. Now they were watching an Olympic champion enjoying every second on the ice. Moments like these remind people why sports matter. Not because of medals alone, but because they reveal perseverance, growth, and resilience. The applause filling the arena wasn't only for a performance lasting a few minutes. It was for years of dedication, years of sacrifice, years of believing when success was never guaranteed. Some television cameras briefly captured reactions from coaches, teammates, and supporters as Alysa completed her routine. Their smiles reflected pride more than relief. The work was done. The dream had become reality. And while social media quickly filled with highlights from the performance, many fans focused on something beyond the choreography. They talked about how genuinely happy Alysa looked. In an era where elite athletes often speak about enormous pressure, expectations, and mental health challenges, seeing an Olympic champion enjoying the moment resonated with people around the world. It reminded viewers that success feels most meaningful when it is shared with those who helped make it possible. Behind every skater standing alone at center ice stands an entire team. Parents, family members, coaches, choreographers, medical staff, friends, training partners. Each person contributes something invisible to the audience. Hours, energy, encouragement, belief. Those contributions rarely appear on score sheets, yet they become part of every victory. As Alysa acknowledged the roaring crowd one final time, the celebration extended beyond her individual accomplishment. It became a celebration of everyone who had walked alongside her throughout the journey. The Olympic Games eventually come to an end. The arena lights dim. The medals are placed in museums. The rankings become statistics, but certain moments remain unforgettable because of what they symbolize. For Alysa Liu, the 2026 exhibition gala represented more than a farewell performance. It represented freedom, the freedom to skate without pressure, the freedom to smile without worrying about scores, the freedom to simply enjoy the sport that had shaped her life since childhood. And perhaps that was the greatest victory of all. Because long after records are broken and champions change, people rarely remember the exact number of points on a scoreboard. They remember the emotions. They remember the smiles. They remember the feeling that, for just a few minutes, an entire arena was celebrating not only a champion, but the remarkable journey that made that championship possible. As the final notes of the music echoed through the arena, Alysa Liu slowly glided towards center ice one last time. The applause refused to fade. Fans remained on their feet, clapping, cheering, and waving flags from every corner of the venue. There was no scoreboard to display, no judges waiting to reveal numbers, no medal left to win. Yet somehow, this moment felt every bit as meaningful as the competition itself. Olympic victories are remembered for generations. But celebrations like this remind the world that behind every champion is still a human being. Someone who has experienced doubt. Someone who has made sacrifices. Someone who has wondered if all the hard work would ever be enough. For Alysa, the journey had been anything but ordinary. She became one of the brightest young stars in American figure skating before most athletes had even graduated from high school. She experienced incredible success at an age when many skaters were still dreaming of reaching the national stage. Then she did something few expected. She stepped away. At a time when many assumed she would continue chasing medals year after year, Alysa chose something different. She chose herself. That decision surprised many fans. Some questioned whether she would ever return. Others believed her competitive career had quietly come to an end. But stepping away gave her something priceless: perspective. When she eventually returned to competitive skating, she didn't seem burdened by expectations anymore. Instead, she appeared grateful simply to be back on the ice. That renewed mindset transformed the way many people viewed her career. Success was no longer defined only by medals. It was defined by happiness, by balance, by finding joy in the process again. Those qualities became impossible to ignore during the Olympic season. Every interview reflected maturity. Every performance reflected confidence. Every appearance suggested someone who finally understood that winning meant more than standing on the top step of a podium. It meant enjoying the journey that led there. That message resonated far beyond the skating community. Young athletes watching around the world saw someone proving that taking care of yourself doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. Sometimes it means giving yourself the opportunity to rediscover them. As Alysa acknowledged the crowd, cameras captured emotional reactions from spectators throughout the arena. Some smiled, some applauded continuously, others simply watched quietly, appreciating the significance of the moment. Social media quickly filled with comments from fans across the globe. Many described her performance as refreshing. Others called it inspiring. Some said it reminded them why they fell in love with figure skating in the first place. The exhibition gala had become more than entertainment. It had become a celebration of resilience, of perseverance, of second chances. Throughout Olympic history, countless athletes have spoken about how difficult the road to the Games truly is. Years of preparation, injuries, missed holidays, long training sessions, moments of disappointment, victories that last only a few minutes after requiring decades of work. Very few people understand those sacrifices better than the families standing quietly behind the scenes. Parents who wake up before sunrise. Parents who drive thousands of miles. Parents who celebrate victories while comforting defeats. Most of those moments never appear on television. Yet they form the foundation of every successful athletic career. Although public coverage of the gala focused primarily on Alysa's performance and celebration, it's easy to understand why many viewers reflected on the support system that helped her reach that stage. Champions are never created alone. Behind every Olympic medal stands countless people whose names never appear in headlines. Coaches refining every detail. Training partners pushing each practice a little harder. Family members offering encouragement during moments when quitting would have been easier. Friends reminding athletes to keep smiling even under enormous pressure. Those contributions cannot be measured, yet they are present in every performance. That is perhaps why Alysa's Olympic story resonated with so many people. It wasn't only about technical excellence. It wasn't only about historic achievement. It was about authenticity. She reminded fans that elite athletes can still laugh, still enjoy themselves, still embrace the moment instead of being consumed by expectations. That authenticity became one of her greatest strengths. As the evening drew to a close, all of the participating skaters returned to the ice for the traditional finale. Olympic champions stood alongside first-time Olympians. Rivals became teammates for one final celebration. The competitive tension that had defined the previous days disappeared completely. Instead, there was only gratitude. Gratitude for reaching the Olympic stage. Gratitude for healthy performances. Gratitude for memories that would last a lifetime. For Alysa, standing among the world's greatest skaters represented the culmination of a journey that had begun many years earlier with a young girl simply learning how to glide across the ice. No one could have predicted every twist and turn that followed. The records, the championships, the break from competition, the comeback, the Olympic gold medal. Each chapter seemed unlikely until it became reality. That is the beauty of sport. The greatest stories are rarely written in straight lines. They are shaped by setbacks, by courage, by unexpected decisions, by believing in yourself when others are uncertain. Looking back, Alysa's career offers an important reminder for athletes everywhere. Progress isn't always constant. Sometimes stepping back becomes the first step toward moving forward. Sometimes happiness becomes the key to excellence. Sometimes the greatest comeback begins the moment you stop worrying about proving people wrong. Instead, you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. That lesson extends far beyond figure skating. It applies to students chasing education, professionals building careers, families overcoming hardship, anyone facing moments of uncertainty. Dreams often require patience. Growth rarely happens in comfort. Success rarely follows a perfect schedule. Yet persistence has a remarkable way of creating opportunities when people refuse to stop believing. As fans slowly left the arena, many carried home more than memories of beautiful skating. They carried inspiration. The inspiration to keep going after setbacks, to embrace new beginnings, to understand that taking a different path doesn't mean the dream has ended. Sometimes it simply means the story is becoming even more meaningful. Years from now, people will remember Alysa Liu as an Olympic champion. They will remember the history she made. They will remember the performances that earned standing ovations. But perhaps most importantly, they will remember the example she set. An athlete who showed that joy and excellence can exist together, that resilience can overcome uncertainty, and that the greatest victories are often measured not only by medals, but by the journey that inspires millions along the way. If Alysa's remarkable comeback and Olympic triumph reminded you why sports have the power to unite and inspire people around the world, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We bring you the biggest stories, unforgettable moments, and inspiring journeys from the world of figure skating and beyond. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.